Creative Brain Candy by creators for creators.
Welcome to Simply Stogies presents Cigars and Coffee. I am one of your hosts, James. Joining me in the same clothes that he was wearing last week because he still hasn't done laundry.
Because I still haven't done laundry. Yeah.
It's Tim.
Dishwasher's still freaking broken.
Yeah. Tim, welcome back to Habanos. We're in Habanos, 432 East 4th Street, Davenport, Iowa. It is a Wednesday afternoon.
It is, yeah.
Because we're recording back to back.
We are. So wait. I haven't gone home.
No, you haven't gone home.
I haven't tried to change.
No.
Okay. All right.
No. So, and it's busy.
It is. They're almost pushing us out. That's how busy it's getting.
It's very nice. We're taking up a lot of real estate.
Yeah, so it's like we got to record this and get the hell out of here.
Get the hell out. We got to go.
Before they lynch us.
They're very nice here when you're in the Davenport area. Make sure you stop by Habanos. Tell them James and Tim from Simply Stogie sent you. David, Mark, and Freddie. They'll take care of you. Whoever's here. So, yeah. Today is a kind of a special episode because we're smoking something special, which we'll get to here in just a second.
Yeah.
But we're also drinking something that's special. Now, I bought this blend because I wanted to support Cigar for Warriors.
Sure.
So, spoiler, that's the name of the blend. But also because, Tim's military. So I wanted to thank him for his service properly.
Yeah.
Right.
If you want to thank me, get my retirement letter sooner. That's what I need.
We're drinking the Janus Coffee Roasters Cigar for Warriors Loyalty Blend. It's a dark roast.
It is.
So we'll get into that in just a second. But we're also smoking something special. If you joined us last episode for that shit show, it was terrible.
Let's not talk about that ever again.
I teased what we were going to be smoking. This is from a friend of the show, Anya Ramirez. You can go back and listen to her episode. I'll link it down below in the show notes, in the description. The Don Fausto, named after her dad. If you listen to that episode, she was on the podcast. She talked about why she named it the Don Fausto. We met up with her at the PCA in Vegas last month.
Yep.
Had a great time. Talked with her a couple of different times while we were there. And she gave us both a Don Fausto.
She did. And the entire time, every time we saw her after she gave us the cigar, she's like, have you smoked it? Have you smoked it? Have you smoked it? We're like, no. We want to make sure that we have a clean palate. We want to actually take the time to try this cigar.
To try this cigar, exactly. So when we were at the PCA, it was a lot of smoking. And so we didn't want to do it on a tainted palate. And so after we finished the first episode that we recorded, the last episode you watched, we actually had some lunch.
Which is now going to be part of every time we come. Lunch is going to be part of our day.
Apparently.
We just...
Because the burger was great.
I was hangry.
You were hangry.
I was hangry. I'm not going to lie. I was hangry.
You were not in a good place.
Like my stove is broken at home. My dishwasher's broken at home. My washer and dryer's broken. Like everything is broken at home.
Make sure you send your complaints to info@simplystogies.com with the subject in the title, Tim's a dick. And while you're searching the internet, putting that information in your brain holes, go to oxfordcigar.com and use code SimplyStogies for 10% off your next purchase from oxfordcigar.com. Oxfordcigar.com is a great spot. Online seller, online retailer, Lucas Da Silva. He's been on the podcast a couple times. We talked to him actually when we were at
we spent
the PCA.
A lot of time with Lucas. Really cool guy. A lot of time
with him. And so he's been kind enough to give you, our viewer, and our listeners, and our readers a discount. Use code SimplyStogies at checkout in the coupon code area. Get 10% off your next purchase.
Yep.
So, yeah. Check that out. I can't wait to talk about this because I'm really digging this. So we smoked a very mild Cornelius and Anthony, a CNA, the Cornelius, in the last episode. So it's very mild. This is, so far, it's kind of right in the middle.
Yeah, I am definitely 100% glad that we had a cheeseburger before deciding to light this up because This is definitely not something that's going to be on the mild side at all. And I had to touch mine up as well. If you just noticed that, it's the construction on this cigar is really nice.
Yeah, I'm having to touch it up because I do a lot of talking. That's the only reason. The ash on it so far it's not flaky. I mean, I'm not very far into it, you can see. So we'll talk about the cigar as we go. We do have a lot that we actually want to talk about this episode. We're going to review this coffee, which is different, I think, than most of what we typically cover, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, initial reaction to the coffee, Tim. Just initial reaction to the coffee.
It's for a dark roast. It's very smooth. I can get a little bit of the acidity in there, but it has a flavor. I'm still trying to put my finger on what that flavor is. Full disclosure, I had a little shot of whiskey before this, and I'm still tasting that because it was real good.
Yeah, he did have a little bit of whiskey.
Yeah, but this is nice and smooth.
It is very smooth. There's a little bit of butter.
Yeah, I could see that. Almost a little like a nuttiness to it too.
Definitely a nuttiness to it. It's buttery smooth. It's not. I almost want to say that it's oily, but it's not. It just kind of it coats your mouth. Has a great mouthfeel to it, which I don't typically say about coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's smooth for a dark roast. I'm digging it.
It is. It's there's a few other coffees that I occasionally will have a dark roast in. Kuju coffee is one of them that I drink, and it's not like a phenomenal, awesome, high dollar coffee, but it's a simple, good coffee for when I need it. And their bold blend is almost a little too overpowering for me. So that's typically when we're talking bold coffees, it's typically overpowering. This is not.
No, this is not. I real quick, I want to give you kind of what I'm picking up on this cigar, which I don't. You can go back and you can listen to the episode with Anya Ramirez, which was a fantastic episode. I know she covers what's in this cigar. I'm almost sure it's Dominican, but I'm not sure what the wrapper is. But it's baking spices right off the bat, especially on the retrohale. A little bit of pepper, maybe red pepper on the retrohale. It's not harsh at all. It pairs well with this coffee because I think it's pretty. There's a nut. I don't think it's hazelnut. It's almost like a cashew. It's got a little bit of sweetness, but it's not. It's not. It's not an overpowering sweetness. So this is a great coffee to pair with this Don Fausto.
How's your draw on the cigar? Because I did the crown cut. Normally, I like just doing a single V, but I figured I wanted to open up this cigar a little bit more, so I did a crown. And the draw, it's good, but it's just a hair on the tight side for me.
My draw is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It's got a little bit of resistance, not too much. So it's not an open draw by any stretch of the imagination.
I'm not saying that my draw is bad.
And look at your burn. That is a razor sharp burn.
It's pretty dang close. Yeah, I'm not saying by any means that my draw is bad. By no means. It's just a little tighter than what I would normally expect.
There's a little bit of resistance to it.
Yeah.
But I did a straight cut. I dig it. I don't think it's overly tight at all. So as we're talk about what we're going to talk about, we'll come back to this cigar. We'll tell you what we're thinking about. We kind of want to start off this episode talking about this second cigar boom, if you will.
Okay.
You've probably heard us mention it a couple of episodes ago when we were at David's. I think we talked a little bit about the cigar boom, just in the context of the PCA. And we are definitely in the second cigar boom. It doesn't really... I don't think that's in dispute. But you and I were talking, and you think that we're on the downslope of this.
I think we are, yeah.
Explain that. Why do you say that?
I just think that the hype is still there. People are, you're still post-COVID and everybody being at home, picking up new hobbies and buying cigars. But I just think that if I look back to the last cigar boom, when that...
In the 90s.
No, it'd be more like... for me, it would have been like 2008, 2009. So about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Okay. So again, I'm not specifically talking about what the manufacturers or the industry as a whole consider the boom. I'm just talking about my roller coaster ride of cigars and what I see. Okay, so for me, there was this great big boom, and then probably around 10 or 11, it just somewhere in there, it started to fizzle off, and it just wasn't part of everyday life like it is now. You know, there's cigars something around me at all times. But I feel like back then, the market and what was available and who was who and what was understandable. Today, I think it's become so flooded and so saturated that I feel like it's starting to lose its excitement for me, because every other email that I get in my inbox, because we all get just tons of that. It's an LE, it's a limited this, it's a one spinoff or something like that. And it's just to the point where who owns what? What is where? When I think I want something, I can't find it. Is this regular production? It's almost frustrating. And I think that's what's making me think that we're going to hit a wall and interest is going to drop off.
Maybe. I don't think so, though. And I think there's a couple of factors at play here. I think the first factor at play is that there are still new manufacturers coming into the industry on probably a daily basis.
Sure.
If not daily, weekly, if not weekly, at the very least monthly.
Sure.
There's always someone new trying to do something different in the industry.
Okay.
There are a ton of cigar manufacturers. Talking with the guys, if you go back and listen to the episode with Jeremy from Deep South Cigars and MJ Frias, anybody can get into the industry. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, as long as you got some money.
Right, as long as you got a little bit of money, you can get into the industry relatively easy. And I think this is kind of proof of that. This is Don Fausto. She's passionate about cigars. I'm not trying to take anything away from anything that she's done. She's very passionate about cigars, and she knows her stuff, obviously, because this is pretty good. Now, this one, I don't believe she blended. I believe this was blended for her, but the next two coming out in her line, which I don't know where these will be yet.
No, we don't.
I'll get a hold of Anya and see if anyone has picked these up, because they definitely should, just based on the little I've smoked so far. And we'll put it down in the show notes where you can pick these up.
Providing you can, in fact, pick them up when this show comes out. Which I would imagine by then, you're talking...
it's good. It's just good. It is a very solid cigar. So anybody can break into the industry. It takes a little bit of money to break in, and then you can start your own line, but you kind of have to know what you're doing. You definitely have to have a passion for it. And there are a lot of people who are very passionate about cigars.
I think it helps to know people too. To just try to walk in by yourself, it's probably not going to be so easy. But if you have some relationships
if you have some relationships with people, absolutely. I think Anya's from the Dominican. That's where she was born. That's where she was raised. So she knows people down there. She's very plugged in to the industry. So I think that helps. But even if you don't, finding people in the industry to help you. We've talked about Nick Perdomo before and all the good that he does for the industry, and he helps out smaller boutique guys and takes them under his wing and shows them the ropes. So for every bad story you hear about, you don't have a seat at the table, like there's too many, it's oversaturated, there's always somebody in the industry that's willing to help you out.
Yeah, that's true.
When I talk about the boom, I'm talking about it from a manufacturer standpoint. I'm talking about it from a consumer standpoint. Buying is insane right now. There was just a report out recently that said that once again, cigars had a banner quarter. An absolute banner quarter, up year over year, even from last year. And last year was the beginning of the boom. A lot of that is thanks to COVID, and we've kind of talked about that a little bit. People sitting at home bored, not knowing what to do. Let's smoke a cigar. Now your partner's like, wait, if you're going to take an hour and a half, 2 hours to smoke a cigar, I'm going to take an hour and a half, 2 hours to smoke a cigar with you because I'm clingy.
Yeah.
Or they just don't want to wash the dishes, as Tim would say. Not me. I would never say that. That's misogynistic. and very sexist. I would never say that. Tim, on the other hand, he said it a couple times.
How is my dishwasher being broken like sexist? Like,
I thought you said it was sleeping.
yeah, when it's not working, it's sleeping. Like, you wanna play Connect 4 by yourself? Like, I'm just gonna connect these dots.
Yes, that's what I do.
Well, then that's
what
on
I
you.
do.
That's not me.
That's what I do. That's absolutely what I do. So I don't think we're on the downswing. I think we're right in the middle of it. I think we're right in the thick of it. I don't think with the amount of new smokers that are coming in, because you've been smoking for a while.
Yeah.
The amount of new smokers that are coming into the hobby are not going to hit that wall nearly as fast as you or I do. Because I'm already over LEs. I'm over, like, if you smoke Cubans, I don't chase the regionals. I don't chase the LEs. I'm kind of over chasing LEs for the most part. However, if Castagli or Crown Heads comes out with an LA, odds are I'll probably buy it because
right. I mean, yeah. I mean, we've said time and time again, you're a fanboy of Castagli, and I like Castagli, but I'm probably more of a fanboy of Crown Heads. Yeah, when they come out with an LE, I'm probably going to do a little bit more research before I just buy something because it has Crown Head's name on it. We don't need to name
Mother Church.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm probably apt to support that company because I like what they're doing. I like John's. I don't know him personally because of the restraining order that he has put out on me. But
not true. Not true.
Yeah, no, not true. But yeah, he would probably get annoyed at me. Whatever. But I want to support.
I get annoyed with him.
Yeah, I want to support the company. I want to support the brand. Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm kind of done chasing the limited edition stuff. Like I want to find something that's in regular production that I can just have whenever I want. Not, there's only 2,500 boxes in existence, and when they're gone, they're gone.
But even that gets twisted. For example, if you take a look at the LFD Andalusian Bull, it's a regular production, but it's always a limited run.
No, and that's fine.
And it's hard to find.
Right, and that's fine. I understand that it's a limited run, so but it's regular production. It's gonna be produced every year, but in limited quantities. I'm fine.
You're okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
You don't consider that an LE.
I would say that that's more just limited production. Exactly what it is. I'm gonna say for me, limited edition is like this is it. It's out and it's gone.
That's it. There's no more.
Right. That's LE to me.
So like your Monster series from Tatawahe or your Four Kicks Kappa Special Aguilas, that was the name of it? The one that I bought the box of. I
know what you're talking about.
I just wanted to rub that in that I bought the box and you didn't. That's really all I wanted.
Whatever.
But that brings us to our next point. Because honestly, I think the cigar boom is great for cigar smokers, especially those of us that have been in it for a while, because there is a lot to choose from, and there's a lot to try, and there's a lot to develop your palate with. But the problem that you inevitably run into, as Tim insults the staff here at Habanos, is when you walk into a B&M is what to choose, and if the B&M is even going to carry a lot of the new stuff that's coming out. Look, everybody knows I'm the boutique guy. I love boutique cigars. If I had the choice between a Castagli and a Davidoff, I would choose the Castagli. If I had the choice between a Castagli and a Padron, I would choose a Padron. If I had the choice between a Stolen Throne and a Davidoff, I'd choose Stolen Throne.
Yeah.
If I had the choice between a Stolen Throne and a Padron, I would choose Stolen Throne.
Yep.
A lot of that is because, and that's not taking anything away from Davidoff or Padron. They are fantastic cigars, super premium, ultra premium, whatever you want to call them. And they are that for a reason. Much to Tim's chagrin. They are that for a reason. They are always well constructed. They're always exactly what the blender wants. They're consistent time after time after time. And I've always said that boutique, for me, when I define boutique, it is quality over quantity. So even if they had the opportunity to mass produce 1 million cigars a year, the fact that they don't, to keep the quality the same, speaks volumes. For example, if you go and listen to the Recluse podcast with Scott Weeks, Scott talks about how he leaves 30% of his business on the table because he rolls his cigars into bow, into botto, or into bar, which just means two. So the draw is always perfect every time, which is different than 95% of the cigar manufacturers out there. So he is a very small minority, but that keeps his production numbers down just because of how they're rolled.
Mm-hmm.
That's, to me, is boutique. That is the definition of boutique. So when you walk into a B&M, we'll just take Habanos, and this is not a slam on Habanos at all.
Or any
anywhere in Iowa, really.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, it's hard to find boutique in Iowa.
It is. It's, and when you do find it, it's either A, twice as much as where you could get it in another state, or B, in one particular instance, the cigars just weren't maintained.
No, they weren't maintained.
And I don't want to get into the specifics of that, but it's just when if you see something in Iowa, it's probably going to be overpriced for what it is.
And is that because B&Ms are afraid to carry boutique, in that they're afraid they won't be able to get rid of it? And if that's the case, are B&Ms training their staff?
Well, that's another thing. Not all B&Ms have large staffs. Like the ones that we frequently visit, the staff is actually pretty small. But in the case of, and Sean has even said this, from David's Fine Tobaccos, I only have so much real estate in my humidor. And he doesn't want to get too far into the boutique because he wants to have something in that real estate that not only he can sell, but that he can replace when it's gone. So by keeping all of the My Fathers and the Perdomos and all that stuff, he knows he's always going to be able to occupy that real estate with that cigar. So I understand it, but to me, that's kind of like, that's the perfect opportunity to utilize that table or that shelf that's in the middle of the humidor for your stock that's not part of your normal inventory, that you're just constantly rotating to allow people to try something new when they come into your establishment.
Well, and I think more than that, it goes to a training. And this is, again, I'm not trying to slam. I'm not trying to denigrate anyone here in Iowa.
No.
I mean, it is I get it. We're kind of on an island when it comes to.
I've gone into a
cigars.
very, very, very small. I don't even know if you can really consider it a cigar lounge, but they had a small humidor and they had a little hidden lounge that you were able to go smoke in. You just had to ask where it was. Same thing. They did just kind of what the owner liked and what the owners was basically like, here's the real estate I got. If nothing else, I'm going to keep the cigars that I like, because if I don't sell them, I'll smoke them.
I'm going to ask you a question that I already know the answer to, so you don't have to look it up. But how many certified retail tobacconists do you believe are in the state of Iowa? They've taken the class, they've done the study, they've taken the tests, and they've passed. How many certified retail tobacconists are in the state of Iowa?
None.
Ding, 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 ding. Zero. There are zero. Now, I know Tim's given me the look like, why does that matter? It matters quite a bit. When you go to any larger metropolitan area that has a cigar lounge, you're going to find at least one certified retail tobacconist. That means they understand the process from seed to shelf. They can look at the product. They know the farms that it was grown on. They know the flavor profiles. They know all of that. I know that gets into the weeds. But when it comes to boutique, that will only help you sell. And you really only need one, especially in Iowa where you've got smaller staffs. You really only need one certified retail tobacconist in a shop to train the rest of the staff. I think that's a problem. I honestly think that's a problem because, and I'll tell you why.
I think that's a problem.
It doesn't matter,
though. I mean,
I don't think that it is. I think when you go to Chicago, and we'll take Uptown, Phil Ledbetter. We'll take Uptown as an
never
example.
been there, so I'm going off of what you're telling me.
They have at least 2 fully certified retail tobacconists. 2 of them on staff. Oh, Phil's one of them. He's the owner, and I'm not sure who the other one is. But they train their staff. They get into the weeds when it comes to cigars, like a lot of us cigar nerds do. We get into who grew it, what farm, what seed is it, what wrapper, what filler, what binder. We get into all of that. If you don't have somebody like that in your shop, do you think you're doing your customers a disservice?
Here's my thing, though, is do you really need to have a certified whatever the hell, or can it just be like, hey, this guy or gal is a true nut, and they're going to do the research and figure it out on their own? Because that could be just as good, if not better.
Well, for sure. That's how Pete Johnson started. He was hired at a tobacco shop in California, and he got into the weeds. He wanted to learn everything about every cigar. I don't know if he was a certified retail tobacconist, but he took the time to research it. I honestly feel like the problem, especially in the cigar boom, if we weren't in a cigar boom, it wouldn't matter. But look, when you walk into a shop and there are 12 different boxes, 12 different shelf facings of Rocky Patel, and 10 different shelf facings of Gurkha, and 12 different shelf facings of Arturo Fuente. Like, how much more room do you have in your humidor? And then you've got 12 or 15 different facings of Drew Estate. And you've got, 7 or 8 facings of Padron and 10 facings of Davidoff. You quickly start to run out of real estate.
Right.
So from a B&M standpoint, why would I spend money?
I mean, obviously, like a lot of these large companies, too, they're going to sit there and they're going to say, hey, in order for you to carry our product, you have to carry all of our faces, or you have to have $2,500 a month in sales, or whatever it is. That also is like, okay, well, I know my customers want Padron, so I'm going to have to spend it. I'm going to have to eat the real estate. Guess what? Now I got no room for anything else.
But boutique doesn't do that for the most part. They don't say, all right, well, you're going to have to order, 2 boxes of everything in our line to carry it. Now, they may say, look, we're coming out with an LE, and to get the LE, you're going to have to carry 2 different boxes of everything in our line. They may do that because that's just the way business has been done in the industry for years. And I wish it wasn't, but that's just the way it is. And that tradition doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon because B&Ms don't want to push against it, and manufacturers push back against the B&Ms that do.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that would change. That would be my one thing I would change. But here's the thing. If you can get 1 or 2 boxes of a boutique brand like LH Cigars, like Recluse, like Stolen Throne, and you could put those in your B&M and give your clientele an opportunity to try it, why are you not doing that? I'll tell you why. It's because you don't want to train your staff on something new.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, if you got 5 people that you got to train, and then you got to trust that those 5 people are going to help move that product, well, why am I going to spend the time to learn about a new product when I've got these 10 that really don't even take any involvement because the customers just recognize the label or the name, and so they're going to buy it?
Yeah. I feel like because B&Ms are the first line of defense, so to speak, they're the first people that new cigar smokers really interact with. They have a duty, and we've talked before about how when you walk into a B&M, you can always tell whether it's a good old boys club. Like, they'll look at you like you grew a second head, like, why are you here? Get out. And women get that more often than new male cigar smokers do. But that culture has to change.
Right.
And I think you can tell a good cigar shop from a bad cigar shop from the very instant you step foot in. I'm going to tell us.
I've even said this. I don't really, if I go into a cigar shop, I don't give a shit about anybody else that's in that cigar shop. I just want to see, okay, what do you carry and what's your lounge like? Can I sit and enjoy my cigar without having to rub elbows with somebody? Because my first time there, I don't want to. But if I walk into a brick and mortar and I feel outcasted like that, or I just feel like I'm not even, like, why am I there? Like, I'm not a customer.
Oh, for sure.
I'm a thief or whatever, then I'm like, screw you, I'm out.
Look, I'm going to tell this story, and I'm not going to say the name of the shop. But I was on my way back from Vegas. I stopped at a shop. I walked in. There's somebody behind the counter. I said, hey, how you doing? And they were like, hey. I said, I'm driving back to Iowa from the PCA trade show, and I started in. And before I could even get any further, he goes, is there a question? And I just looked at him like, well, there was.
I'm sorry, I'm at the wrong
But
place.
there's not now. And he kind of looked at me like, why am I getting that reaction? So I explained who I was and what I was doing. And he went, oh, well, here, let me give you all of the help in the world.
Right.
I feel like that's a problem. If somebody walks in, a new cigar smoker, and they've got a question, and they want to start talking to the shop guy, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Nothing's more important than the customer.
I feel like that's almost the first question. That's almost like if I was working at a brick and mortar, that would almost be my icebreaker to every single customer, is how long you been smoking? How long you been enjoying cigars?
Yeah, there's none of that. There's none of that.
They might say, oh, I'm brand new, or they might say, oh, I've been doing it for 12 years.
Now, after that, like, they went above and beyond to make sure that I had a great experience, but only because, and I don't typically do this. Like, typically when I get that, because there have been smaller shops that I have walked into, and they look at me like, why are you here? I don't know you. All right, cool. I'm out. Like, I just turn around and walk out. I don't have time for that. I'm not going to support your business. But this one I gave the benefit of the doubt. It was a busy day, and it worked out. But only after he found out who I was and what I was doing.
Because around here, you're a big deal.
I'm not a big deal at all. At all.
I don't know if you saw my license plate.
When you walk into a B&M, I feel like seeing the usual suspects is fine. I don't have a problem walking into a shop and seeing a ton of Perdomo, ton of Padron, a ton of Rocky Patel, even Gurkha. Like, I get it. People smoke those. Mm-hmm. I'm not begrudging anybody what they smoke. But why is there not more Illusion? Why is there not more LH? I mean, LH is probably some of the best cigars I've ever smoked in my life. Why is there not more Stolen Throne? Why is there not more Recluse?
Well, and then again, is the lounge itself, are they basically putting in cigars that they smoke, that they like, and they figure, I smoke them, I like them, I'll put them on the shelf, other people will buy them, and everybody's happy in the end of the day. I mean, and this one, again, not calling anybody out or anything like that, but if you look at Capital in Nebraska, and Jeff is the humidor guy, he's done, remember when we first went there compared to what it is now? Yes, they have the usual suspects, but Jeff is also out there making sure that, hey, there's something new in the humidor or something that's hot, and I like that. Even if it is just one or two choices of something new,
I feel like every month there should be a new something in the humidor.
Just that even actually if it's right there is an event within itself. I mean, because if I know that, hey, typically the third Tuesday of every month you're going to probably have something new on your shelf, well, that's about the time I'm going to swing in and see what you got.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we talk about B&Ms and their lack of self-promotion, let's talk about the coffee, and then let's talk about the cigar.
Okay.
Again, the coffee is buttery smooth, especially for a dark roast. I'm typically not a dark roast guy. I don't like dark roast, but this is it's mild enough. There's no harshness. There are no sharp edges to it. There's a little bit of a butter note. It's very nut forward. There's no sweetness. None. which shocks me, especially because a lot of the Janus, and this isn't a slam on Janus because I love Janus Coffee Roasters, a lot of their coffee has a slight sweetness to it. I think it's in how they roast it. But this doesn't have that. This is it's a coffee.
Yeah.
But it has a nice, deep, rich umami to it.
Right. One thing I agree with everything you said, but one thing I'll add is that you're drinking out of a coffee mug that is sealed. It's closed, so it's keeping that heat in. I'm drinking out of an open top coffee, and I can tell you that the flavor profile does change as the coffee starts to cool down. It does get a little bit more acidity. I can just a hair.
I can taste that. I love
that. And I can't figure out what that is. Maybe it's just the butter, but it just seems to be really hit.
It might be like almost like a fruit, but like a dark fruit, where it's like a rich dark flavor, but it pairs well with the umami.
Almost like I would almost say
citrus,
almost kind of more like a caramel than a citrus to me, and that's. Again, we all know that I have a shit palate, so I'm really trying to figure out what it is I'm tasting, and that's as close as I can get.
Caramel.
Yeah, but again, I only got that as the coffee started to cool down.
A little bit, but that might be the way that it's mixing with this cigar.
Could be. Absolutely.
Because this cigar has a nice umami to it. It's very savory. It is very earthy with a dark richness that I'm really digging.
What I really like about this cigar, and lately I've been smoking shorter cigars, but like this one actually, I want to sit back and really take this cigar in. And sometimes, like, I'm smoking a cigar, like I said, I'm driving to work, from work, or I'm hanging out with somebody. So that's why there's not a whole lot of cigars that I like to actually sit down and, like, take my time and enjoy. But this one kind of, I wish I had another one so that I could go home tonight and actually just try it by myself.
I really like this a lot. There's a richness to it, like I said. I don't know if I'd call it buttery. The smoke production on it is really good. My lone complaint would be that the ash is a little bit flaky.
Yeah.
But that could just be... I mean, it's been sitting in my humidor for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
So typically I would give it a month. But I have no problem with the construction.
Yeah, the construction is solid. The only thing that
It's got a nice sheen on it, a nice oily sheen.
I think the construction is great. I've had a little bit of there's a few spots where the burn kind of goes off, and again, that could just be the way it's been sitting in my humidor. But again, yeah, the ash is a little flaky, but I think if I were to smoke another one of these, the next one's going to be a straight cut. I want to try this with the straight cut.
I really like this. There's some visible veins. There's two visible seams on the cigar, or maybe it's just one, and the wrapper's covering up where it goes. But some veins. I mean, it's a sharp-looking cigar. Yeah. It's not necessarily a toothy wrapper. It's smooth for the most part, but there are a few bumps, a few veins. But god damn, is it good. Like, it's really good. And I'm not just saying that because she's been on the podcast. This is why we don't take sponsorships from cigar manufacturers. If it's a turd, I'd tell you it's a turd. It's not a turd.
Do we know? Is this cigar going to be released in multiple vitolas, or is it just going to be?
I think that it's going to be released
in Toro.
This is a Toro. I think it's going to be released in more vitolas, and I know that she's got two others. Now, again, this was blended for her from the factory by the factory. She makes no bones about that. But the next two that she's releasing under the Don Fausto name are going to have multiple vitolas, and she blended herself. Mm-hmm. She went down to the Dominican and blended those cigars.
Interesting. Yeah, I would definitely, if we're looking at the staff picks, which we have not quite perfected yet. No. We're working on it. We really are. But I would just say. In that rating system, this would be a 5-er. And the only reason why I think I'm saying that is because this is the only one I have until they're release, they're the public, I can order more. And then that's probably what I'm going to do is buy another $5 to really determine
if it's box purchase
if
worthy.
it's a box purchase.
Yeah,
or not.
I think I would agree with that. I think a $5 is the way to go with this when you can find them, and then determine if it's for you. I really like it based on this. I might, like, I kind of want a box. So,
well, if you do a box split, you could end up with
here
5.
we go with 2 $5s to do a box split. I get 10, you get 10, everyone gets 10.
Wow, we almost made it through the whole episode without James being a complete jackass.
Almost,
but
never going to happen.
Yeah, it happened. Well, dang it.
So before we rate these cigars,
Yeah,
and we rate
we
the
didn't
coffee.
actually talk about a whole lot that we were going to originally.
No, we talked about everything except B&M's not self-promoting.
We haven't talked about B&M self-promoting using social media, but we also didn't get to talk about the lovely USPS and shipping. We didn't get to talk about
yes,
that.
the USPS is shipping. Let's save that for the end.
All right.
B&M's have a problem. And this kind of goes back to what we were just talking about, where they don't want to carry boutique because they don't know how it's going to sell. There are very few, and again, I'm painting with a broad brush here.
Yeah.
Very few B&Ms that will put out on their Instagram, on their Facebook, on their Twitter, saying, "Hey, we got this brand new cigar in. Come down and try it." Very little of that. Most of what you see from B&Ms is, "We have an event. Here are the specials. Come down and buy it."
Right.
I hate that. I would much rather see, as Randy pokes his head through the door,
Realizes that I'm here. He no longer has a job. He
and
left.
he gives me the. They don't promote when they get new stock in, and I think that's a huge miss.
I think it is too. Instagram for it is. I think that's probably going to be your strongest place to, and you're not selling anything. You're just out there basically saying, "Hey, this is who we are. This is what we got going on. This is a new product that just hit," or whatever. I think I would like that, and I would like to be able to go on to Instagram, for instance, and say I'm visiting Nebraska and type in cigar Nebraska, and it pops up with brick and mortars in the state that are actively on social media, that are posting, and then I can sit there and be like, "Oh, holy crap, that place looks cool. I got to go check it out."
Well, and that's why we do the lounge reviews, so you can go state by state and see who's there and who we recommend and that kind of thing. But I feel like because B&Ms stay away from boutique, they're missing a huge opportunity. If they bring boutique in, look, there are huge tat heads out there. There are huge crown head guys out there. Castagli guys out there, Stolen Throne guys out there. And all of these groups, they search for those hashtags on Instagram, on Facebook, on all the social media.
Yeah.
And when they see that a certain B&M is carrying something, especially something new from these boutique retailers that they may not be able to find everywhere else, guess what? They're going to call your shop.
Yep.
And they are going to immediately want you to send them what it is you've put out on the Instagram.
Right. I think that if I'm looking for a cigar and I happen to just see that one of my local shops is carrying it, I will go to that local shop and support that brick and mortar before I just go online and have it shipped.
Absolutely.
Because chances are they're going to send it USPS and it's going to come 10 days later.
Yeah.
Or more.
So if you are in with your local B&Ms, encourage them to get on social media, promote all of the new stuff that they have coming in, whether it's an every Tuesday thing, every Thursday thing, whenever they get their new stock in, and say, "Hey, we've got this." A shop that does this very well is in Fuego in Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
They get a new something or another in, whether it's Roma Craft or whoever.
I mean, look at
Like,
Mardo.
hey, they put it out on there like, "We got this in. Come get it. They're going fast."
Look at Mardo. He's constantly posting on Instagram, and like one of my favorite thing to watch that he does is mail call. He just, "Hey, the truck's here. Look at all this crap," and then he doesn't show you because he's unloading the truck, and then he'll do a video an hour later where he's got all the boxes out and he's showing you what's there, and he contact me if this is something you want. Like, I just think he does it really well.
He absolutely does. So if you know the people at your local shop, encourage them to get on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter and put it out there and get active and involved in the cigar community. That way it will only help their business.
I think we're running out of juice here.
We're fine. Let's talk about shipping. Let's talk about because you're having a hell of a time with USPS.
Yep. So as you said earlier in the episode, we have a discount code with Oxford Cigars.
Simply Stogies.
Yep, Simply Stogies. You use that code, you get 10%. And I was like, well, hell yeah, I'm going to use that. So I did. I ordered some cigars, and shipping, everything was going great until it hit Tennessee. And then all of a sudden, it just nothing for 4 days. And all of a sudden, it's in at least my hometown, but that's it. And that's frustrating because I know it's not Oxford Cigar because they got the order. They processed that order probably at like 10 o'clock at night. Like, I don't know if Lucas lives right above the shop or what, but he was amazing at boom, got your order, got it packed, got it in the mail. And then as soon as USPS got it, it was just like, yeah, we don't care. And so here at Habano, I would imagine they're having a similar problem getting stock in.
Well, the stock problem is more of a COVID thing. It's more of
but I really wanted to blame the post office.
There was some crop issues at the end of last year. Nobody had stock. They were selling at the PCA. We talked about that. It's all they're selling for later on. Yeah. But USPS is typically pretty bad.
Yeah.
So the question that I have to you is it worth paying extra for shipping?
Yeah. So
when it comes to cigars, when it comes to any consumable product, is it worth?
So, and I don't think that, for instance, this order with Oxford, I know that they gave me the option to choose FedEx or another carrier, and I don't think it was a whole lot, but I was like, free shipping, whatever. But this is not the first time that I've been burnt on an online purchase, and it was
I remember that.
It was purely USPS.
Yeah.
Whether it's a poorly paid worker at the distribution center that's stealing your packages, or whether it's we just don't got enough people to process all these truckloads, so your box is going to sit in a truck out in the parking lot for 4 days till we can.
Well, that was Christmas.
Yeah. Either way, yeah.
So is it worth it to you to spring for shipping? It's expedited.
I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, yes. It is. Now, don't get me wrong. If you know that, because there are people out there that live in areas that FedEx or UPS just suck. So if you habitually have that issue with one of those carriers, don't use them. But for me, where I'm at, if it's going to be delivered by Amazon or USPS, it's going to be a while until you get your box. And the box may or may not be empty when you get it.
There you go.
So I would say
pay for shipping.
Pay for shipping. It's a couple bucks, especially when you're using. Figure out how much you're saving. If you've got a 10% discount, right? So you're saving. Let's just say you save $15. If it costs $6 to ship it, you're still saving money.
Yeah,
and you get it in 2 to 3 days. So I mean, keep that into consideration. I'm saving money on the purchase, so let me put a little bit back and get it shipped. And plus, that would also put some sort of insurance on the package.
Yeah. So now's the time of the show where we will rate the coffee and the cigar, the Don Fausto. We'll start with the coffee, the Janus Coffee Roasters Cigar for Warriors Loyalty Blend. Tim?
So first off, I love the fact that Janus Coffee Roasters did this blend. I appreciate that they are supporting the cigars. Is it Cigars for Warriors? It was on my phone. Anyway,
Cigars for Warriors.
So basically, when I was reading through the thing on the website, for every 12-ounce bag that is purchased, 8 ounces is sent to a soldier who is deployed. I love the idea. The coffee's great. I haven't had anything out of Janus, from Janus that I haven't liked. As I make noise and drop this.
Is this coffee better than what you get in your MREs?
Yeah, that's not even a question that should exist.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this coffee. I'm gonna give it a 9.3.
9.3. That's a pretty high score.
Yeah,
I like the coffee a lot. I dig it. Is it the best Janus has ever put out? No.
I full disclosure, I gave it a few extra points just because of what they're doing with the coffee and supporting the Cigars for Warriors.
Yeah, I would bump it up a couple points for that, which would put this as firmly in a 9.1.
Okay.
Regularly, probably an 8.8. It's really good. It's solid coffee. I like it. I'll buy more of it because I want to support our troops overseas. This is a good way to do it. It's a great foundation. Cigars for Warriors. If you have extra sticks that you won't smoke, it's a good way to get support our troops and send them to our men and women overseas to smoke and get them into the hobby.
And as being somebody who has been deployed, when you're over in theater for a couple months, when you just happen to get a package and it's full of cigars, makes the deployment go by a lot faster. It's just an awesome organization and program.
Yeah, absolutely. The Don Fausto.
What would you give this cigar?
So it does have some burn issues, being completely transparent. Could be the way that it was stored. Only had a couple of weeks of rest in my humidor, not a full month as I typically like to. But I also talk a lot, and we talked about that, so I try not to take off too many points for that. For this, the ash is kind of flaky, but not overly flaky. It's a neat looking cigar. It's a great looking cigar band. It's such a great story that she's named it after her dad, the Don Fausto. It's starting to ramp up a little bit here in this final third. Very spicy, but not a spice bomb, not a pepper bomb.
No.
It's nuanced. It's complex. It's rich with great depth and umami. Not a lot of sweetness. Maybe a little bit of caramel, but not anything that gets pulled
so you're getting
out.
the caramel from.
I think it is enhanced by the coffee, and the coffee's enhanced by the cigar. I really think that this is a great pairing. If you're able to find the Don Fausto, pick up a bag of the Cigar for Warrior Loyalty Blend from Janus Coffee Roasters. Support a great cause, get some great coffee. I'm going to go 9.2 on the cigar.
Interesting. I'm still a little blown away by you're getting the caramel from the cigar, and I'm getting it more from the coffee as it cool down. But I think I agree. It is a great pairing. It's definitely a cigar that's interesting to me. I really haven't had too much of a burn issue, and I have noticed that when I do have that burn issue, it's on the one side. So that's going to lead me to believe that it's from sitting on that side in my humidor over the past couple weeks. But otherwise, the draw is just a little tighter than what I want to. We got a little bug or something. Anyway, let me get over with this. I'll do a 9 even. I'm going to do a 9 even.
Rookie score.
Yeah.
Rookie score.
Yep.
There you go. That's the show. We're here at Habanos. There is the 5-pack, Simply Stogies 5-pack here at Habanos. Give Habanos a call, which I have the number right here on my handy-dandy phone.
Which you can always remember to put in the show notes later.
That's right. 563-888-5477. Ask for the Simply Stogies 5-pack. It includes a pork belly. Give them a call or stop in at 432 East 4th Street, Davenport, Iowa, if you were in the area. That's going to do it for this very long episode of Cigars and Coffee. I'm James.
I'm Tim.
Stay smoky, friends.